Hello and welcome to Sons of Olympia. I'm George.
And I'm Matt, and we are brothers.
And our parents are Olympians.
Yes, we are the sons of Olympian parents who have failed to fulfill their genetic potential.
And like all underachieving children, we have decided to start a podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this very special episode of Sons of Olympia, because in this episode, we have secured an interview, our first ever guest on the podcast, with the one and only Steve Cram, live from the Winter Olympics. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. So stay tuned, folks. That is coming up. Very exciting stuff. But I'm feeling a little under the weather. You might be able to tell I'm a bit poorly at the moment. I'm suffering from the end of the Winter Olympic blues.
You sound quite nice, actually. I thought this was going to be a disaster, but you actually sound quite a nice husk.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe this will do us some favors, bring in a new audience who like a nice, sexy, husky voice.
Yeah, like Phoebe on Friends. My stinky, stinky shoe.
You love Friends references. We need to dial those back.
No way. All right, do you want to tell us then, Matt, Winter Olympics is over?
It is over for another 4 years. It's always a sad time, isn't it? You sort of get that, as you were saying, the Winter Olympic blues, or the Olympic blues, whenever this happens. But yeah, George, I know you've been loving it. You'll no longer have to watch the luge or your favourite event, the double luge, for another 4 years. I'm sure there is a niche YouTube channel or somewhere where they, compete year round. Follow the season. Now you're such a big fan. But yeah, you can kiss goodbye to that for another 4 years. But yeah, it's over. Closing ceremonies was on Sunday. And it's going to be handed over to France to deliver the next one. Mm-hmm. So, very exciting. And all the Team GB guys flew back today. So today's Monday. They flew back into the UK today. All the big names with their new bits of bling around their neck. Best games ever for Team GB, by the way, just in case you didn't know.
Well done. Well done, Team GB. Well done.
Yeah. Do you want to know the full tally?
Give it to me.
3 golds, 1 silver, 1 bronze.
Oh, come on. Let's go.
Yeah.
1 of each.
Yeah.
What, 3 golds.
Exactly. And that puts us 15th in the medal table, which not to be sniffed at.
Not bad
at all. Very good. I mean, we weren't anywhere near Norway, who absolutely smashed it. That country are on something else. They had 18 gold medals, 12 silvers, 11 bronze, 41 medals total. So 18 golds put them top. USA was second with 12 golds. So yeah, it's not even close. Absolute domination from the
and of course
Norwegians.
In that team was the most successful Winter Olympian of all time, Johannes, who got 6 of those golds all by himself. So if he was in the medal table, he would be 8th just by himself. So that is pretty nuts.
That's phenomenal, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. He's such a monster. He's just something to be studied.
I saw an interview with him when he was at the start line for like the 50K or something. So I think he'd already got 5 gold medals at this point. And he said he woke up and had a bit of a sore throat and thought he was feeling a bit under the weather. But he was like, if I feel okay, I'll go on the start line. And then he was like, I'll feel all right. I'll give it a go. And then just won it. Which is
I wonder how much
mad.
of that is mind games. I mean,
it's hard to tell.
You can't be winning a gold medal in the 50K against the best in the world, even with us, if you're feeling a little bit crap. That's such an insult to everyone else. But go on, Johannes.
Yeah. But yeah, what a great games. Thoroughly enjoyable. I'm sad it's over. What were you enjoying watching this past week? What were some of your highlights?
Well, George, before we move on, because there was a few highlights this week, thoughts on how they do the medal table, because we just talked about it. I mean, it's not like a point system, is it? Because there's a few anomalies knocking around on this medal table, and it seems like gold medals count for everything, and everything else sort of is second fiddle to that.
Yeah. So I've always been curious about this on the summer games, because obviously we spoke about this, I think, in a few episodes ago, about how in the summer games there's so many more events, so many more medals up for grabs. So the medal table, this discrepancy is much clearer. So it's done just on the number of golds. So if you on the medal table this year, we've got Netherlands in third and Italy in fourth. They both have the same number of golds at 10, but Netherlands have 7 silvers. Italy have 6 silvers. So obviously Netherlands therefore get the lead. But Netherlands have 3 bronze, whereas Italy have 14 bronze. So they're saying that one silver medal gives them third place, when Italy has 11 more bronze medals than the Netherlands. So they technically, the Netherlands, Italy, sorry, could get as many more bronze medals as they want, and they're never going to move up the leader table, because it's just done on golds and then silvers and then bronze, rather than like a points per medal sort of thing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does make sense. It's a little hard to get around, because in most sporting situations, it's like a point system, right? And you'd be like, well, Italy's team, as a team, they are more successful. They have podiumed more times. They have a better all-round team than maybe the Netherlands do. But it means nothing, because a bronze is essentially useless if you don't have enough silvers, which is crazy. But
this is even clearer a bit further down the leaderboard, when you have Poland in 21st place. They had 3 silvers and 1 bronze. Total medals are 4, but they were beaten by Kazakhstan, who had 1 gold medal. So that's what it takes for them to climb up the leaderboard, a single gold.
Yeah.
And I guess it shows the importance of winning a gold medal at the Olympics if you want your country, your team, to do well in the overall medal table.
Yeah. So thank God we had Matt Weston on the team. Get us those golds. But yeah, loads of good stuff happening in this final week. For us Brits, we had the men's final in the curling. Bruce Moat and the boys couldn't quite beat the nudgy Canadians against our enemy of the podcast, Mark Kennedy. We were really rooting for you, Bruce, but yeah, that's a shame. But silver, good result.
It is a good result. I was watching it at the time, though, and it's so difficult in those games. You know, when you get through to the gold medal match, that must feel so good. It's like, oh, I've definitely got at least a silver medal. That feeling must be so good. But then when you lose the gold medal match, even though you've got a silver medal, it feels like you've lost. You've lost the last game. So it must be so, like, you could see it all on their faces at the end. They were all devastated, weren't they? They were all like sobbing, choking back tears. It was difficult to watch. Whereas we're going to talk about this later in like the skiing and some other stuff. If you get a silver medal, it's like a win. Do you know what I mean? You're still super excited that you've medaled. Whereas in that, when it comes down to the last race, it's tough.
Yeah, I think when we get Mum on the podcast, which we will soon, we can talk about this, because I know there's times where she's been, well, and Dad, to be fair, just beaten, like, you know, close to a silver, close to a gold, and probably in the heat of the moment, you feel like you've lost. But then once you've had time to reflect and you get on the podium and you have that medal around your neck, maybe your thoughts change. Because I saw the curling team on socials coming off the plane, all smiling, showing off their silver. So maybe it does just take a while to sort of reflect on what you've actually achieved.
I think you're right.
So we got the Brits curling, ski half pipe. We had Zoe Atkin, who got the bronze there. A bit of a controversy there, because some people were saying she should have got silver, but she did get bronze, which is interesting because she has a sister called Izzy Atkin, who was also skier, and she won bronze in the slopestyle, so slightly different event, but in the slopestyle in 2018 in Pyeongchang. So yeah, I would be interested to talk to him, but I think I've read a few interviews, they are quite competitive with each other, and I think Zoe really wanted to get a silver to her in her sister's face, but it's quite nice to have bronze across the family, isn't it?
For sure. I mean, we love siblings of Olympia. It's great to see. We can talk about this later as well, a little bit in the skiing. The representing a country that you don't technically live in. So they're both living in America, but they compete for Team GB because their dad, Mike, is from Solihull. Shout out the West Midlands to all our listeners. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting, isn't it? Their dad's from Birmingham, but they live in Massachusetts now.
Do you think that's an upgrade?
Yeah.
No mountains, no half pipes, Solihull. Big up to all our Solihull listeners.
Yeah, how you all doing? You're all right.
You're right.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, that's sort of medals. And then did you see this? There was in the biathlon, which is the cross-country skiing with shooting, in the men's 15 kilometers, this sort of went viral as well. A race that our mate, Sturla, the cheating Norwegian, as you might know him as, finished second. You know who I'm talking about here, Sturla, the guy who
cheated. Not in the curling.
No, the cheating Norwegian. He cheated on his girlfriend, if you remember, and announced it to the nation.
Of course, that loser.
He was in another event. Yeah, another enemy of the pod, Sturla. So he went on and won a silver medal. So he's had a pretty good Olympics from the medal front. But anyway, the attention was not on him in this event because the race had been won, the medals had been settled, and it was down to the last three. The last three were still in the race. They knew everything was done. And they decided on the final straight to go, you know what, let's have our own race to see who finishes last. So they all lined up about, 50 meters from the end. Someone counted and they just sprinted to the end. So this was an American, Italian and a French athlete, and they just blasted a finish, which like the crowd who were in a little stand on the day, they just loved it. And that I think is just class, not taking it too seriously. Look, we've had a good race. Yeah. Us three, let's just have a bit of fun. And yeah, you just love to see that sort of stuff.
I do love it. Yeah. Good for them. And, get your name in some headlines, get a little viral clip. You haven't won a medal, but get some news.
I didn't know. Yeah, exactly. Get a few followers on Instagram for after.
Yeah.
It's a household name. Yeah.
For sure. Some great highlights there mentioned. I wanted to go the other end and talk a little bit about heartbreaks of the games. Another thing that makes the Olympics so great, I think, is the failure, the success as well as the failure. And there's been some big moments. We've already talked about the curling on Saturday night. That was hard watch to see them boys upset. But I also feel bad for Kirsty Muir, who was our skier, I saw her in a lot of ads and stuff in the build up to the Olympics. I feel like there was maybe a bit of hope around Kirsty, and it doesn't get much harder than this. In the slope style, she finished fourth, missed out by 0.41 points on the bronze medal. So that is nothing. And in some of those, where it's just like the judges, they're just doing it on like style and the tricks or whatever. 0.41 points is nothing. That's just like one. That would
a little tweak, a little grab. A judge just seen it slightly different to someone else.
Yeah, that is tough. So to finish, and I always think fourth, Mum will know this, finishing fourth in the Olympics is tough, right? Because it's like third, you got a medal, fourth, nothing. So she came fourth in the slope style and then also finished fourth in the big air final. And this was really tough. I think she fell on one of her runs. And then on the last one, she knew she had to go for something really big and went for this huge 16-20 spin. Apparently it was like a trick that hadn't been done before in competition, and if she'd have landed it she would have got a medal, and fell and didn't get that bronze medal. So felt bad for Kirsty Muir. But another story around her was her boyfriend.
I also think that there's I don't think you can have any regrets in that situation. She knew she probably could have played it safe and maybe, not played it safe, but like gone for the bronze, but she went, I'm going to go big. And I think she can probably, sleep at night knowing I gave it all. There was another guy actually in the skiing half pipe, an American, who did exactly the same, went for a mega trick and just landed straight on the top of the half pipe like a rib crusher. And he ended up he did ski away from it, but everyone just sort of held their breath and was like, because he just slammed from I don't know, 3-4 meters
I
up.
saw it.
Yeah. So, and he said to the camera, no regrets. So you got to leave it all out there.
I think he actually said, I regret nothing. I regret nothing. And again, that's one legend. Brilliant. But I was going to say, back to Kirsty Muir. Have you seen who her boyfriend is, who was cheering her on at the games?
Go on, hit me.
Her boyfriend, Matt Harris, who you might have known from series 1 of The Traitors. He was the one who was flirting with one of the girls in it, who then turned out her boyfriend was also in there with him at that scene. And I think Maddie is like, I thought you were going to get with Alex. At a scene which they apparently called the Red Breakfast, in a nod to the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones, which is so funny. It's just
I do remember him. Wasn't he a BMX?
Yeah. So I guess that's how they probably know each other, through the extreme sports world. But that's very funny.
That is very funny.
Yeah. Another heartbreak I wanted to mention was the quad god Ilya Malinin. I'll try that again. The quad god Ilya Malinin. I'm not even sure if I got it. Mum's a big fan of the quad god, though.
Ilya, quads.
Well, no, he's called a quad god because he's the first person to land a quadruple axle, and he has massive quads. But
to die for.
I think he looks exactly like the character from Blades of Glory as well, the Napoleon Dynamite.
He does.
I forget the guy. Yeah, it's just so funny. Anyway, the quad god hadn't lost a competition for 2 years on the build-up to the Winter Olympics. Big favourite, comes down to the final, falls twice, finishes 8th. Big upset. And the person who did get gold then, I don't know his name, but he was an athlete from Kazakhstan who we mentioned earlier, got their one and only medal of the games, put them into 19th on the medal table, beating the quad god. So heartbreak for some, glory for others.
Look at that. I mean, what a story. Poor quality.
A sort of heartbreak of a different kind was from Eileen Gu, who was the Chinese-American freestyle skier. Very successful game she had, but her grandmother also passed away while she was at the Olympics. So that must have been very hard, difficult for her. But she was she was going viral in clips for other reasons. So she had a fantastic game. She got gold in the half pipe. She got silver in the freestyle big air and silver in the slope style, making her the most successful freestyle female skier in history. Bit of controversy around her because she's living and was raised in the US, but is representing China, her motherland, and that's upset some Americans. You know, Americans are all very patriotic. They get wound up by this sort of stuff, especially when it comes to China. She even wound up a Mr. J.D. Vance, who said that she should be competing for the US. But there was also this clip of a reporter asking her a question when she just won her 2 silver medals. You might have seen this. It went viral, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it, because he said, and he probably could have phrased the question better, but he said, do you see this as 2 silvers gained or 2 golds lost? And her response was to laugh and say, well, I'm the most decorated female free skier in history. And that reporter is now getting a load of stick online for that question. What are your thoughts on that incident?
Oh, it's so tricky, isn't it? Because, I saw this and I saw Eileen's response, and it does make you feel good when you see someone shoot down a reporter that's maybe trying to put a bit of negative shade on your achievement, because like Eileen was saying, this guy who is the reporter probably has no idea the sacrifice that she's put into, and to try and make it seem like, you've not accomplish what you've come for, what gives you the right as a sort of reporter to talk down to my achievements? So in some ways, I'm like, go on, Eileen. And I think most of my opinion is like that. But then you can also see from the reporter's point of view, maybe there was an ounce of like respect for her because she's the world's best. And it's like saying, like, you know, you are the best in the world at this. Do you feel like, you know, did you leave anything out there? Do you feel satisfied with silver? You know, if you're that mindset of you are the best. I think, I don't know, maybe it was a fair question, but just read in the wrong way, or I don't know, you could see it both ways. But I did like her response, and I do think there are reporters out there that think that they like to like sort of rattle athletes in some moments, and I'm just kind of like, I do love it when athletes just go, you know what, you have no idea what it takes to do what I do. Shut the F up and say well done to me.
Yeah, I get it because that reporter, he wants his headline, he wants her to snap or whatever, and then he's got his article. But I do think there is some. Everyone was like, "What a stupid question! What a stupid question!" But I do think there's something in the question because you want to find out as an athlete what are your thoughts? How do you think it went? Do you feel like, are you happy with how you did? This is like how you could phrase the question, like, are you happy with these, or do you think, like, do you feel like you could have done something more to get the gold, or are you a little bit, because in the freestyle big air, which she won silver in this Winter Olympic Games 4 years ago in Beijing, she did get the gold. So there's something in that question. But like I said, he's like, it definitely could have been phrased better, but he's getting a lot of shtick now, and people are.
He is, because if that reporter had asked the men's curling team, for example, after the final, do you think it's a silver gained or a gold lost? They probably would have, based on their reactions in that heat at the moment, would have gone, probably a gold lost, right?
Of course.
In the gold medal match.
Yeah.
And so, it's...
But like you said, when it's a bit more subjective, I think she would have been thinking, she will have had that thought. Do you know what I mean? Like, could I have got the gold? I'm not sure. But anyway, interesting moment. And it's interesting what stuff goes like viral. Yeah. I guess from the games.
Yeah. And talking of Eileen Gu then, you know, Olympics is over. What do, you know, I know there'll be another competition on the horizon, but, you know, go back to your day job, or, you know, what do you do now for the next 3 years? You know, Eileen Gu, 3.2 million Instagram followers.
Damn.
Model. She's a model for designer brands. Has all these sponsorship deals. She doesn't have to worry about anything for the next 3 years. But there's plenty of Olympians going home back to their day jobs. And this is interesting because in the first episode, when we were talking about mum's background and dad's background, they weren't, you know, professional in terms of like fully supported by UK sport. They both had their own jobs. Mum working in Lloyd's TSB, like we were talking about. Dad was a teacher. And you think, oh, is that still going on today? Well, yeah, actually, like quite a lot of athletes are self-funded. So shall I rattle through some of these jobs, because there's some good ones, and I'll get some of your reactions. A lot of these are American, just because I seem to find a lot of the American ones, but they're not all of them. So American alpine ski racer Keely Cashman, 15th. She was in the Supergiant Slalom. She's a barista as well. Works at the Serene Bean Cafe, family's coffee shop in Pinecrest. Look it up.
If ever I'm in the Pinecrest region, I'll pop in for a flat white.
At the Serene Bean. Save me a seat, Keely. We've got Nick Baumgartner, who is a snowboard cross athlete from the US. Concrete pourer by trade. Pours concrete. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
A labourer, I guess, and that in itself feels like a tough job. Lots of strain on the body, but he apparently works in the summer, works hard, and then will basically take the winter off to from the season. So yeah. Then there's ice hockey. Ice hockey player for Japan called Amy Nakamura. She works at the Anpanman Museum Shop, which, if you're in Tokyo, you can head to that museum. It's like a kids' comic character museum. So she works in the in the shop with where they sell all the merch. And I watched a little video of it. You know, what I find crazy, right? That people are interacting with Olympians in their life and have no idea. You go to a coffee, you go in for your nice little flat white, and it's being made by an Olympian. You know, you're buying your little magnet from the museum. Amy Nakamura, ice hockey legend in Japan. Just bag that up for you.
She hands it over, and just on her wrist are the rings tattooed by there or something. You're like, wow,
so class. I'm going to reel off a couple more. Ryan Cochran Siegel is a maple syrup shop worker. Paula Moltzan, whitewater rafting guide. Tara Peterson, USA curler, dentist. Another one, Jake Feder, another snowboarder, also a comic book writer. And what's hilarious is that these were all on a few of these were on a social media post, and the comments were like almost as good as the job. So the comment was, "Can you imagine having your teeth polished by a curler?" most polished teeth in the world.
Slow down.
Yeah. Another one. That's my maple syrup guy.
Just watching the games. Hang on.
Hold on. Is that Ryan? It's my maple syrup guy.
That's the guy who poured the concrete for our driveway. Good for him. Good for him.
Good. And then another one. Someone wrote, Olympic snowboarder and comic book writer is the absolute childhood dream. I mean, imagine telling that to your careers advisor in year 7. I want to be an Olympic snowboarder and write comic books. Sorry, you got no chance.
Dream on, kid. Oh, that's great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, very good.
Well, we're hoping that this will be our job one day. And you know what? We're on to a good roll, because on Saturday, which I'm now terming Super Saturday for the Sons of Olympia podcast, we secured what I think of as a pretty spontaneous interview with the one and only Steve Cram. Yeah. Do you want to, how did this start off? Should we tell the story about how we got Crammy?
How we secured him? Well, you could say how Crammy secured us, because this is how it happened. Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, check my phone, and I see a little notification on the Sons of Olympia Instagram. The one and only Tanny Gray Thompson has followed us. Baroness, by the way.
Yes.
She followed us. I don't know if she's a listener, but she followed us. 11-time gold medalist in the Paralympics. Absolute royalty. So I text Mum. You never guess who's followers. Well, I text the Cooks WhatsApp group. Tanny's followed us. Can you believe it? Next minute, boom, George, you pop up with a message.
Yeah.
Hot right in.
Because we had another message from Alison Kirbishley, who is the partner of Steve Cram. And she said that she had shared a clip with Steve Cram, which is from the podcast, which is us talking about how Crammy commentates on the curling. And isn't that funny? Because how did he get the gig? And we're sort of having a bit of a joke with it. Never in a million years thinking that this clip would make it to the eyes of Crammy himself.
Which is quite funny, because we sort of said this as a bit of an off comment. Oh, do you know, like, isn't it funny that Crammy commentates on the curling? Clipped it, and it turns out lots of people are Steve Cram fans, or like find it interesting that he's commentates on the curling.
Yeah.
So she'd seen it, sent it to Crammy in Cortina.
Yeah. And she had then put in that message, she was like, I sent this to him and said, do you know whose kids these are? And Steve Cram had ran with Dad, knew Mom and Dad in the Olympics, all together in the 1984 Olympics. And he thought it was very funny. I'm not actually sure if he guessed who we were. Maybe he did. And And then he said, apparently it's funny. And if we wanted a chat tomorrow before the curling final, we could do it. Because, yeah, that's the point. Actually, she sent that message on Friday night and we didn't pick it up until Saturday morning. So suddenly we were like,
true.
oh, yeah. And it was actually
And
quite
this was
stressful, wasn't it? We were like,
it was stressful.
yeah. So we were like,
What
yeah,
was meant
of
to
course
be
you
a
want to talk to
leisurely
Crammy.
Saturday morning turned actually into a bit of a scramble.
Yeah.
There's a bit of back and forth with Alison, who herself is a two-time Olympian in the 400 meter. She's Scottish. So yeah, we were talking to Olympians all of Saturday. Anyway, we secured Crammy in the gap between the bronze medal women's match, I think it was, and the men's final. We got 15 minutes with him to talk curling, but also general Olympic banter
stuff. So with that in mind, may I introduce you to Steve Cram?
Steve Cram, thank you so much for taking the time to come in on the podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time and squeezing us in ahead of the big curling final tonight. Let's go, Team GB.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be good. If you might hear some announcements going on behind me, I hope that hear you. Yeah, look, it's been a long 2.5 weeks, and if we weren't going to get a medal of any description, that would have been tough. But we will get something tonight. Yes. Let's hope it's a gold medal. Yeah, against Canada as well. And it's always good to beat Canada, to be honest.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, we'll get to that. But yeah, Steve, appreciate the time you've slotted us in. We're speaking because you saw a clip from our podcast where we were talking about you commentating on curling, which you've done across several Olympics now. But we found it fascinating because your sporting career was obviously in athletics. So just to reel off some of your career highlights, Olympic silver medalist in the 1500 meters. In 84, you broke the world record in the 1500 meters, the 2000 meters, the mile, and you did that just in a 19-day window, which is very impressive. And of course, you ran with our dad, Gary Cook. So naturally, the first question is, why curling, and how did that commentary position come about?
Well, I mean, without getting too detailed into it, if you wind the clock back, 2002, Great Britain women's won the gold medal, and I was in the studio actually with Claire Balding at that time, and kind of got in. We all got interested in curling. I met the women's team a couple of times. Actually, standing next to me is Jackie Lockhart. See, I met Jackie as well, who was actually Jackie became the world champion that same year. So we kind of all got to know a little bit about curling, and at the games after that, where the devil were they, Jackie? Oh, in Italy as well, wasn't it? Turin, yeah. I ended up presenting from the curling, so I learned a bit more about it. And when I got to Vancouver, they realised they'd got rid of a few people at the BBC, and one of them was the guy who used to commentate on the curling. So they said to me, "Right, you know some stuff about curling. Can you commentate on it?" It was a bit traumatic to begin with, I'll be brutally honest, but it's been great. Jackie was still in the team then when Eve Muirhead first came in as skip, 2010. And then thankfully, I've had Jackie to help me through since then, 14, 18, 22, 26. Yes, this will be the 5th games I've commentated on the curling.
Impressive.
Yeah, very good. And of course, huge night tonight for Team GB in the curling against Canada, I believe. What do you think, Steve? Are we going to do it? Can the boys bring it home?
Yeah, of course we're going to do it.
Yes, let's go.
You have to be a little bit quiet because the Canadian commentators are just off to my right. Thankfully, they've gone for a cup of tea. But yeah, look, Canada are, it's like playing, I don't know, it'd probably be Man City right now, wouldn't it? Who's been dominant in football or whatever. Canada are the nation for whom winning a gold medal in curling is like the norm, or it certainly was for quite a long time. Now, they haven't won the men's gold medal since 2014, but it was this guy who's skipping this team, Brad Jacobs, and they beat Great Britain in that final. And actually, the guy who was the skipper of the British team is now the performance director for Canada. So, there's a lot of connections back to 2014, but it's about time we did it. And these lads are, they're the best in the world. And at the moment, probably, as you probably watched, Switzerland gave them a couple of incredible matches, both in round robin and in the semi-final. And Canada did beat us in the round robin, but I'd say in recent times, Bruce's team have beaten this Canadian team many more times than the reverse. So odds kind of in our favour, but it's a one-off game. Olympic final. They got the silver last time, and I'm backing the lads to get the gold this time.
Yeah, great. I believe. Yeah,
I believe.
So we actually have met you before as well, Steve, back in 2013, because you came to our house to interview our mum, Kathy Cook, about her running career over her span of her running career, and you were all in the 1984 Olympics together. And of course, we only know them as our mom and dad. But we wanted to ask you, what do you remember about them? What were they like as athletes? Like, what their personality, their mentality, their professionalism? What can you give us?
Good or bad?
Your mum and dad were two of my great friends in the team. Kathy was Kathy Smallwood, Gary Cook. We came into the team together almost as juniors. You went to the Commonwealth Games in 1978. I was 17, and we had so many great young people in the team. Your mum was, if she was around today, I think I said it in that piece we did back then, she was a world beater. And I think your dad was a great 800-meter runner. I used to love running against him. By the way, you're a bit, I mean, your mum's gets all the accolades. Don't forget your dad was in the 4x800 world record breaking team,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, great. They're good. They're great friends, and we're great athletes as well. But as you said, it's funny when you hang around with people, you tend not to go, oh, look at your perseverance or how hard you train, because we're all doing it. What you actually look for is people you get on with, people you love to hang around with, people make you laugh. Your mum was always laughing, and your dad's really funny, and so yeah, we had a great time, period of our lives, shared an awful lot together, got to go to some great places and take part in amazing championships and things, and thankfully win a few medals as well. So yeah, it was great to do that piece. It seems ages ago. Well, no, it didn't seem ages ago until you told me how long ago it was. It was about 4 or 5 years ago, but yeah, it was a bit longer.
2013.
Yeah.
Wow. You guys were
a little younger.
How old were you then? You got in the piece, didn't you? Two of you sitting on the sofa.
Yeah, maybe
right.
Early 20s then. No, late 20s. God, I can't remember. Yeah, but yeah.
Wow.
I do remember it like it was only a couple of years ago.
Yeah, well, it was fun to do, and it was nice to do. It's something we probably should do a bit more. Just remind people how good some of the athletes were who never perhaps got the accolades that we got. I mean, your mum was racing against, let's just say it, some dodgy Eastern European and Russians and East Germans at the time, and the times that Kathy was putting up were immense and stood as British records and British records certainly for an awful long time. And probably didn't get the exposure that her ability deserved, partly because of us lot as well. There was a couple of blokes kicking around called Seb Poe and Steve Ovett, and one or two others who got a lot of their headlines back then. So yeah, it was nice to do that piece and remind people how good she was.
Yeah. And that's lovely to hear.
Yeah, it is. And you mentioned it there. You ran in the 4x800 meter relay team with our dad that broke the world record in 82. So that team included yourself, our dad, Gary, Peter Elliott and Seb Coe. So a pretty formidable team that, and that held the world record until 2006. So Team GB since then have had some pretty strong eras in middle distance men's running. If you were to put together the ultimate Team GB 4x800 meter relay team that can include any runner from any era, who would be in it?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I have to be kind to your dad here, wouldn't I?
No bias. Don't.
No bias.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, okay, you Seb Coe was obviously a world record holder for an awful long time, as well as British record holder. I mean, I'd struggle sometimes to put myself in there. I ran a fast 800, and I used to win lots of 800s, but I wasn't an 800-meter runner. I was a 1500-meter runner. I think probably out of the modern era, the only person who really sneak in there would be Max Bergen.
Mm.
Yeah, we've had some great people in the intervening years. I was talking about Andrew Asagi the other day, who was in that brilliant 2012 Olympic final. But if you're talking about a relay, so what we had to do was almost run on our own. There was no pacemaker, and each of us had to do our own bit. And Max is very good at that. So I'd probably put Max in and either kick me or your dad out.
Very honourable answer, but I think we know what you're saying, Steve.
All right, just to finish off, because I don't want to keep you too long, we have this segment in our podcast called Podium Picks, where we rate 3 things, either gold, silver, or bronze. So we'd like to give you a couple just to finish off.
All right.
Because you've commentated on some incredible moments, world records, Super Saturday at London 2012, obviously the marathon, and of course curling. What would you say are your top 3 commentary moments, your gold, silver, and bronze?
Oh, wow. I have a few, so I'll try and throw 3 in there. Okay, so probably, yes, Super Saturday. I think with Mo Farah was just, it wasn't so much the race as such, but it was the moment, the place, the timing of that whole thing. So probably put that in gold. My favorite athlete to commentate over the years was Bolt. And I think in Berlin in 2009, he was amazing. So let's put his 100-meter world record in 2009 in Berlin in there, the silver. And a nod to what I really love doing, which is commentating on marathons and that sort of thing. So Paula's world record, all the way back in 2003. So yeah, let's go those. So another time I might pick some others, but let's go Super Saturday, Usain, and Paula's world record in the marathon.
Fantastic.
What a list. That is amazing. I can remember all of those moments. So I think I can remember some of your lines, especially on the Bolt commentaries. Some iconic lines there. And then
he had a great name for commentating. Sometimes if it was commentating with, I don't know, Ramalala Narina from Madagascar, he was a 60-meter an indoor kind of sprinter, and whereas Bolt, it's easy, isn't it? Bolt, Usain Bolt.
Yeah,
very.
Yeah.
The one where lightning doesn't strike. Well, lightning does strike twice for his second gold medal. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe an easier one here. Which would you rank? This is another podium pick. Which would you rank gold, silver, bronze in the list of Steve Cram career highlights? Number 1, Olympic silver medal. Number 2, breaking the 1500-meter world record. Or number 3, being the first guest on the Sons of Olympia podcast.
Well, that's what a hard choice. Goodness me. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so obviously being on the podcast, we'll have to go gold. Then the other 2. No, my Olympic silver medal is a great thing to have. It was neither what I wanted nor what on the day the way the race went and everything. But I couldn't do any more. I'd been injured before it and all the rest of it, and it was one of those things. So I'll put the 1500-meter world record. If you'd asked the world mile record, I would have definitely said that as my silver, and the Olympic silver as my bronze. But yeah, look, as you get older, your opinion changes on a lot of things that you've seen, done, talked about, and the mile was when I was a kid. Roger Bannister was the big kind of name that hung over the world of athletics. And as my career went on, although I broke the 1500 world record and won the 1500 world champs with an Olympic medal, I still wanted to be a world record holder in the mile. And so finally getting to do that in Oslo was a great thing. So, and that still sits as a really nice memory of my career. So yeah, so let's give that the silver behind the podcast. And the Olympic medal, the bronze, yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, the mile probably would have been a pretty iconic distance, and like you say, the Roger Bannisters, the other names that have gone in there, yeah, to be on that list is pretty iconic. So yeah, very good. So Steve, you've gone over your 7 minutes. Appreciate the time, really.
That's okay.
We'll be tuning in tonight for the big match. So yeah, all the best to Team GB.
Yeah. All right, well, Mick, make sure you do. I think where I'm sitting here, there's. I'll just turn around here. Because behind me, whoops, I steal that way. Up there, we had some very loud Canadian supporters for the women's bronze medal match, and I'm a bit worried that they're going to be up there. And if they give me too much jip, I'm going to turn around and tell them to shut up. But
Yeah, have a word, Steve.
Well,
hopefully not. Yeah. All right. Fingers crossed, and good talking to you guys.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, Steve.
Thanks so much.
All right. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.
I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Our first ever guest, straight from the Winter Olympics stadium, the curling stadium behind him. You could hear the announcements in the background. That's wild.
Exactly. Like the audio wasn't great, but it was truly, you could sense the atmosphere in that curling arena. Yeah. So very happy. And I think he did open the door for us. He said, I don't have much time for you now, but maybe in the future.
Maybe.
So stay
Full
tuned
episode
for
with
Crammy Part 2.
Yeah. And Steve, if you're listening to this, thank you so much. You must have had a very busy day. So to give us time to squeeze us in before the curling final, thank you so much. That's cool. Great stuff. But what now? We've done Crammy. The Winter Olympics is over. Where the deuce are we going with this podcast?
It's actually the end. We have to wait now 3 years. No, of course it's not the end. We had this idea, and it just so happened that the Winter Olympics was happening, which was very fortuitous. But no, this is the start for Sons of Olympia. There's plenty more to talk about in future episodes, and we're not just going to be talking about the here and now, the news items. We of course need to get our parents on to get further insight into the Olympics, and there's lots more to cover. Unfortunately, can't talk about the luge every single week, George. There is other things to talk about.
Well, yes, I'm sure there's other sports that are just as entertaining as someone sliding down an ice tube, but I look forward to discovering what they could be. But yeah, that is going to be an exciting time to get mum and dad on. That'll be interesting.
We need to Yeah, and there's other stuff going on in the world as well, not just ice and snow sports going on. There's been lots of stuff going on in the world of track and field as well, which might have not got the headlines maybe it should have. We know, George, you got some news on...
I do. I've got a little story to tell you here. On the 3rd of March, 2002, Landa Cheplak in Vienna, capital city of Austria, at the European Indoor Championships, broke the world record for the 800 meters with the time of 1:55.82. That very same day, over 800 miles away, a baby girl was born, and her parents named her Keely. 23 years later, she would go on to break that world record set on the very day she was born. Talk about written in the stars. Keely Hodgkinson, world record holder for the indoor in 800 meters. And she doesn't want to stop there. She's now got her eyes set on the outdoor 800 meter record, which is the longest standing world record in athletics. And this is where it can tie in to the podcast slightly. Jarmila Kratochvitova from the former Czechoslovakia. She set the outdoor 800 meter record in 1983. So this is, of course, from the 80s, the time when our mother, the great Kathy Smallwood Cook, was running. It's also a time where a lot of other female world records were set, 400 meters, etc., all this stuff. Also a time where there was a lot of state-sponsored doping programs in places like East Germany and the Soviet Union, where doping was very clearly well documented in those countries, but less so in the former Czechoslovakia, where Jarmila Kratochvitova was from. However, there is evidence of a specialized care system for athletes, which some people believe was doping. And although Jarmila never failed a drugs test, she's always denied knowingly taking drugs. If you Google her, she is jacked. And I'm not just talking in the legs, upper body, biceps bigger than mine. Something's not right. Apparently, according to Athletics Weekly, her coach said it was down to lots of physical work as she grew up on a farm and lots of vitamin B12. Well, let me tell you, I take a vitamin B12 supplement and I ain't got arms like Jamila. But this is an exciting time.
I really hope she breaks it. I think I saw an interview where Keely Hodgson was obviously playing it she didn't mention any of that. But she did say that it was like the longest record, and I know, but I think she's not that far off. Obviously, she thinks she can do it, and I think she needs, like, for the sake of athletics, I just think she needs it. Put that record to bed, let it be gone, and Keely, please. So, yeah, but the fact she was born on that day,
that's insane, isn't it?
There. Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if she was like into running. It's so interesting to think about how this, because have you heard about like nominative determinism, where like if it's like when your name. So if our last name is Cook, so we're statistically more likely to be a chef. Like, it's just like is a case. Like, if your name is like Mr. Baker, you are more likely to be a baker. If I'm called George, I'm more likely than most to move to Georgia. Like, that's something in it. So to have that, at what age would she have found out that she was born on this day that the world record was set? And then I wonder if as soon as she got into running, she was like, or if she had, like, it's just very interesting to think about. Maybe as soon as she got good at 800 meters, she was like, I was born on the day that the 800 meter world record was set, so I'm going to do it. And just having that like story in her head, maybe as she grew up, like subconsciously could have, who knows? But there is power in this stuff, and it's exciting.
Yeah, I would like to know when she found that information out, when on her journey, and if that steered her. Or maybe we'll have to reach out to Keely's team.
Yeah, I reckon she's going to be pretty booked up right about now. But if she wants to come to a podcast with 300 Instagram followers, then Keely, the door's open.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we spoke to Steve Cram for 15 minutes. We were the real deal.
We're moving and shaking. We're making moves.
Yeah.
All right, then. I think that's a good place to finish. If you have any questions for the pod, please stick them in. Give us 5 stars on Spotify. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all that. And thanks for listening.
Yeah. See you on the next one. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.